Okay, hi guys, and welcome to another Conversations with God's Great Idea. I'm Mario. I'm the leader of this conversation, and with me I've got some really amazing people who are going to probably share tonight. But first off, let's talk about what Conversations with God's Great Idea really is. Now, God's great idea was to make us in His image and His likeness, and as we get out of the way and let the God in us move, we can be love, we can be power, we can be freedom and self-expression in life. And what really happens is that you become much more effective in accomplishing what you want to and being able to create a life that you love. So guys, before we go on and get into the conversation for tonight, we're actually going to, I'm going to let a couple people introduce themselves, whether online or here with us here in person, and I'm going to let them talk about the homework. If they've done the homework, like, I'd love to hear if you've done the homework and how that went for you. So now, look, let me tell you about what the homework was. So the homework, we had 4 things that we wanted to do. Number 1, look at areas where you want transformation. Number 2, which areas have you been holding on to the past in? Number 3, complete the past by forgiving the person or accepting the situation as it is. And number 4, take actions based on what you want instead of what you do not want. Okay, so those were the 4 things in the homework that we had to look at. So does anybody want to share with us about how the homework went for them? Well, I did the homework, if I can start with myself. And so the area of transformation that I was looking for was actually with a relationship that's been very, very close to me. And in that relationship, there was, things didn't obviously, there was a failure in that relationship of expectations, if you will. And so what I've been holding on to was that I can't rely on that person to be there when I need them to, right? And so what I did was to complete with the past was, I made attempts to get in contact with the person. The person didn't pick up the phone, but I did complete the past. I let it go, and I accepted the situation as it was. Like, the situation is like that is this. I'm not resisting it anymore. And all of a sudden, like, there was a peace that passed, like, completely surpassed what I can understand right now. And I'm just complete about the situation. I'm like so complete about it. And the actions that I'm taking in the area of being complete around it is to continue to call that person and have that person, just so that we can at least be in communication so that I can create something new with them instead of being in, about the past, like having that past continue to be here. So I really, in order for me, I guess, to have a new future with that person, I really just needed to complete the past and really accept it for what it was. What happened, happened. Does anybody else want to share? Awesome.
Okay. Oh, God. All right. It's Adam Mack. And I struggled with this a lot. So the area that I was looking to have a transformation in is in the area of relationships. And the areas that what happened is that the area that I'm holding on to in the past is that my last girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend, it's like, without going into too much story, it's just not what we want for each other is not aligning, right? So we decided that it was probably better to create a friendship at the moment, and if it leads back to something, like it'll lead back to something, but in that interaction, we've been constantly creating what that would look like to be friends and stuff like that, and it's like, certain feelings keep coming up, and then familiar situations keep happening, so it's like things that I wanted from the relationship in the past keep coming back up, and this was a really prevalent week where those things keep coming up. Like I keep finding areas that from the past that are preventing me from having just a genuine friendship with her, because it keeps resembling the relationship too much. And then so I tried to have the conversation, and I thought we were creating and stuff like that, but everything just, the past kept collapsing on top of my creation, and like every time I caught it, I would try to get out of it, and then I would go for a little while, and then it kept coming back. It was just like a cycle. So the actions that I I took was that I essentially told her that, like, somehow or another I need to declare this thing dead. Like the relationship that we had in the past, and anything that brings up those familiar things, I can't do that with you anymore. And that's not working right now because it's like we're both clashing on it, and it's like it looks like I'm not being a friend. And at the same time, it's just that I don't want to put myself in a situation that makes me feel familiar because I'm not having a breakthrough in a future relationship.
So that's great. So I get that. So guys, do you see what's happening here? He has a relationship with a person he really cares about, right? They were in a relationship for a long time, back and forth and that sort of thing. And now he's trying to create a new relationship, but a friendship out of that thing. And what's happening is that they keep on falling back into the relationship, right? And he's trying to have a conversation keeps on having a past-based conversation as opposed to what's new. That's what keeps on happening, right? Is that right?
Yes, that's exactly what's happening.
So what I want to say is that in your trying to not have that relationship, that you're resisting it and you're not really going in the world of transformation. You're not disappearing. You haven't disappeared anything, which is why you keep on falling back into the past-based conversation, right? Maybe there's some work that you have to do on yourself, as in accepting things as they are, and dealing with it. Because listen, this stuff works, right?
Yeah.
So if it's not working, it's probably because we're not doing the work. We're not using it.
Sure. Yeah. I'm just
I know.
I'm 100% like it's like I'm saying I want this transformation, but my actions they're not consistent with that.
Yeah.
Like they're not.
Yeah, I got that.
So
I got that. So what has to be done? Like what needs to happen there that you can see right now?
man, I'm having just trouble accepting things as they are, like, and it's really strange. I feel like she's stronger than me because it's like she's able to accept it, like it's in her conversation, and I just keep like, you're so robotic, you're emotionless, like how could you feel that way? And it's like at the same time, it's like we said that it was gonna go that way, and it's like I'm not sticking to that, So yeah.
I got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's like kind of a disappearing that has to happen. We talked about disappearing, like the difference between transformation and change is that change tries to fix a past, and it sounds like you're trying to fix a past here. And transformation, like Jesus said, he said, he said you can't put new wine in old wineskins. What he means is you can't have an old life and put it back into your new life and put it into your old life. You got to start fresh, right? So there's some disappearing of your past that you have to do. Doesn't seem like, and I get it. I completely get it. So maybe you want to redo the homework this week. But really the work, it has to be done with you. Like it's with you, right?
Yeah, it is. It is with me. I know it's with me. I know it's like I know I'm not being consistent with what I created. I just think I need to look at the commitment and structure what that commitment looks like newly, because the commitment as it looks like right now, it's too familiar to the relationship. So I could still have the same commitment, like, be there for her, be a friend, like unconditional love.
Okay, I'm going to stop you. So every time that you say it looks too familiar to what it looked like in the relationship, what I'm left with is that you're resisting the old relationship. And somehow you're trying to fix it so that it doesn't resemble that old relationship.
Yeah, I am. It's just like because I'll do something that resembles the relationship, like call her every day, and that's not working. That's not working.
I got that.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're calling her every day because that's what you used to do?
Yeah, it's what I used to do. It's habit at this point. It's like it just feels like a habit. Like I call her to talk to her, find out how her day's going, what's going on, I let her know what's going on with me, and then it's like, it's just like a habit.
So does she do the same thing?
Yeah, she does the same thing. If I don't call, she's calling.
So what's wrong with that exactly? for you?
What's wrong with that for me is just that it feels like I'm in a relationship with her. You know, it feels like, okay, we're talking to each other every day. I'm calling her, she's calling me. Yeah, it just feels like we're together.
So, I've got some friends who call me almost every day. And I don't feel like I'm in a relationship with them. So I'm with that. The issue is not what's happening. The issue is you're not coming from nothing.
Yeah.
Like you're not creating out of nothing and creating a new relationship that could be even more beautiful than you've ever had. A new friendship.
Yeah, it's like I'm still holding on to like, if we're doing that, it should be leading into a relationship.
Why?
I don't know. Like, I don't know why I'm doing that. I think it's because like ultimately it's what I wanted with her, and yeah, it's ultimately what I wanted with her, and it's like it's not what she wants. So
I got it.
Yeah.
So then, you've got to create something new between the two of you, right? And it sounds to me like you got to get complete about, and you've been getting complete for a long time around that, but there's a completion that really wants to happen around that. So I want you to take on like getting complete there, because you can't disappear your path. You're not creating, right? You're not transforming anything right now. You're just changing. You're trying to change it, and it doesn't work. You see that? Trying to change the relationship. Get that? So I want you to take on just disappearing the past and really creating a new one. Hi, Silka.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. The computer has no audio, so I'm dialing in case I want to contribute and I want to hear you guys.
Awesome. I'm glad that you're with us. So I'm going to leave you here with us as you are, okay? And let me know if you want to chime in. Thank you. So, will you see what I'm saying as far as the difference between change and transformation?
yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Great. Awesome. So are you willing to take on completing with that past so that you can actually transform your relationship?
Yeah, I'm definitely willing to take it on. I just, it's always that conversation of where to start. Like, I'm willing to take it on.
Yeah, and it looks like there's another conversation that wants to happen there, but there's something that wants to happen over here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah. Great.
So, Late Gathright has a question.
Oh, awesome. Great. So go ahead and put her on.
She's not talking, but she does have a question.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. I'm wondering the same thing. There's a bond or relationship if you are talking. Yeah, that's true. So Lay says, the same situation that Adam's dealing with is, what happens if you have, someone and you're in that same situation where you have a bond or a connection and you're still talking, and it's kind of tough, isn't it? But I think the toughness comes in not accepting what's so. It's like when we accept things as where they are, then all of a sudden we can just move on from them. We can complete with them.
Yeah, it's like my flesh wants to say stuff,
Good. I'm glad you got that.
Yeah, and it's like I feel like I'm in a fog, like when I don't say what's really there. It's just like, if this is a judgment-free zone, like I just feel like some of the things that are being said are so stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just like, this is so stupid. How can you say that? It's like you're listening to yourself.
Yeah.
So it's like I want to say that, and it's like she's telling me she wants the same thing that I want, but then there's all these weird reasons behind it, and I'm like, what the are you talking about right now? Like you just told me you want the same thing that I want, and you don't want it. And I'm less like, fighting with like, okay, if you want that and I want that, like,
Why don't we make it happen?
why don't we make it happen?
Yeah, and so so do you get that there's something off there, right? You guys are not creating together. So which is great because you need to get flat about what you want to create. So what Paul said is, forgetting what's behind and pressing forward toward what I want, essentially, is what he said. I'm paraphrasing. Like really, like in the world of what you do want to create, I get what she's doing, right? But it's like, what do you really want to create? Like accepting it for what it is, accepting that up until now, this is not how it's gone, and then really creating something new, like a transformation in your relationship. And that's what really wants to be brought to the forefront, I think. And we can continue this conversation, but yeah, I mean, I think that's what's there. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and go on with the conversation. Thank you so much, Adam, for that, because it is not always easy, right? Sometimes it's like, okay, I'm in this relationship and I want to complete with that past and I want to create a new relationship, and it doesn't happen. And a lot of the time, guys, I got to be honest with you, it's because you haven't completed the past. When you don't complete with the past, there's no way for you to walk into a new future. That's not transformation. It is change. Change doesn't work.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, like, I think, like me personally, I think I'm very well versed at completing the past. Like, I know the tools. I walk through it. I feel like we completed it, and it went great for a certain amount of time. But is there, like, it comes up again sometimes. You have to you have to complete it again and again and again and again. Am I correct sometimes?
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
It's clear that there's something still there, right?
I mean, like, we'll have stretches where it's like, it's
great, and then all of a sudden it comes back up, right?
Something happens and it comes back up, yeah.
Great, so, like, do it again.
Yeah, and that's what I mean, and that's, like, I want to say that's part of this experience. Am I right? Like, or that happens?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly what you're going through, guys. It's like now and now again and now again. Like creation is now and now again and now again and now again and now again. It's always in the now. So if you feel the past is coming in and it's creeping in and it's being manifest here now, then clearly there's something that wants to be done with the past. You want to complete with that. It's not complete. Right now, in this moment, you're still with it. It's not complete, right? So what there is to do is to complete with it, to disappear your past. Stop trying to put new wine in old wineskins, like Jesus said. I think it's great, and I think it's straightforward. I think it's a straightforward conversation that we make very, very difficult for ourselves, right? It's like a straightforward conversation. It's like complete with the past, disappear the past, and then really start to create what you really want to be there. So guys, we're going to continue on. Thank you so much, Adam, and I hope that you got something there, and I hope everyone else got something there, and it's probably still open, and if it is, then we'll talk about it again. That's why it's Conversations with God's Great Idea, because we get to come back to subjects that we're not complete about, and we can like completely explore them and see how we can get them in our lives. But that, like, what is clear about what we just talked about with Adam, and which you may be going with, is that it's not complete. You haven't accepted it for what it is. When I say accept it, it means, like, flesh is getting pulled in on that thing. It's not getting triggered anymore on that thing, right? And the flesh is going to get triggered sometimes, and then you get, well, okay, that's the flesh. What was I going to create? Oh, that's the flesh I'm going to create. It's like really accepting it. Okay, this is how it is. Once you accept things as they are, then all of a sudden you can say, okay, now what do I want? This is the way this is. Okay, I got it. Now what? What happens is we try to fight and wrestle with the past, and that's why it never gets completed. It never disappears. Now we could have spent weeks on disappearing the past. We could have spent weeks on that in the world of forgiveness, forgiving others, forgiving ourselves, and leaving things in the past and moving on. But we didn't do that. We're touching on them, and potentially in another series we'll deal with disappearing in the past a lot more, because it really is the most important thing that you can do. Because if we don't come out of nothing, then we're not creating. Period. That's not creation. God created out of nothing, the Bible says, multitude of times. All right? So, guys, on this conversation, if you're brand new to our conversation, I want you to know what we've been talking about over the last 10 weeks. We've been talking about the flesh, or also known as the carnal mind, or in the world of psychology, or in the world of, these different areas. We call it the identity. We call it the ego. We call it the personality, whatever it is, those things. So I'm here to tell you what the flesh is. The flesh is automated machinery, the ego, the identity. It's all automated machinery that seeks to survive in an evil world. Okay, what does that mean? Well, basically that means that your body has an operating system, and that operating system does things on autopilot. So when somebody yells at you, you yell back or you withdraw. Whatever you found earlier on in life that actually worked to deal with that is what you do. So most people either yell back or they completely withdraw. It's a natural reaction. It has nothing to do with who you are. It's just it's the flesh. It's automatic reaction. It's like my computer right now. It's running all sorts of processes. Right now the internet's coming in. If I get an email, then it wants to ding. If I get a Skype, it wants to ding. I'm not doing that. I'm the user, but it's just doing it on autopilot because that's what an operating system does. Now, somewhere along the line, we determined, or the flesh determined, their operating system, the machinery, determined that the world was evil, and now it just seeks to respond and to react in a way to protect itself. That's what's happened. Okay, so there are some things that we discovered about the flesh in the first few weeks of this conversation is, number one, the flesh is never going away as long as you live. It comes with this body, so stop fighting its reactions. Number two, the only way to bypass the flesh is to realize that it's not who you really are. It's just machinery. It's just reacting. And number three is for you to get that when you are in the flesh, you cannot create. You can only react. The power to create only comes from the Spirit of God. So literally, guys, when we're in the flesh, we can't create anything. When we walk in the Spirit, as the Bible says, then all of a sudden creation becomes right there at our fingertips, right? So how do we do that? We catch the flesh in the act by distinguishing ourselves from it. And in the last 8 or 9 weeks, we've been talking about how we distinguish ourselves from it. And right now we're in the topic of, we've been talking about how these different things that we can use. We can look at what Galatians 5 says, that if we're in sexual immorality, impurity, hostility, quarreling, jealousy, outbursts of anger, etc., that we are in the flesh. And Paul says that these are obvious. When you're in the flesh, it's so obvious. When you're referring to an undesired past that you do not want, that is not the Spirit. That is the flesh. I don't care who you are. I don't care how great you want to make it sound. I don't care how many scriptures you quote while you're doing it. It's still the flesh, right? And so what we've done is that when we distinguish the flesh, in that moment we can short-circuit it, and then we can create in that moment. We can get back into the Spirit. So the Bible says, we were just talking about transformation versus change. The Bible says in Romans 12:2, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and prove what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. So it says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Yeah, what is that thing that's transformed? It's us, our being. It's our world. It's everything that gets transformed. And it says, don't be conformed to the pattern of this world, the patterns, the reactions, the processes that we've all taken on in our lives and the flesh continues to walk in. So this is what we're talking about. We're talking about transforming our minds, transforming our worlds, transforming everything through this process. Okay, and so now what are we talking about? What is transformation really? So we discovered transformation is distinguished from change. Change fixes the past. This is kind of what we were talking about with Adam. Change fixes the past. It seeks to try to fix the past. So like something went wrong and now you're going to go and try to fix it. It's like as much as you want to fix a load of crap on the ground and make it perfume, it's never going to be perfume. It's still a load of crap on the ground. It is. Well, you can try to fix it all you want. It's not going to happen. You got to disappear it, clean it up, flush it down the toilet. and then start fresh, and then you can create whatever you want. And this is what we're talking about. Too many of us try to fix things. I've tried to fix so many things in my life, and I resist it when I fix it, and it does not work. But when I disappear it, when I accept things as they are, when I stop trying to put new wine in old wineskins and just start fresh, then I'm able to create, and it's not hard. It becomes easier. But you got to disappear in every moment, every moment, every moment. You know, the Bible talks, or Jesus specifically talks about being born again. There's a scripture that is there, and he says, you know, if you want to inherit the kingdom of heaven, you got to be born again. What does that mean, to be born again? Well, what it really means is that in every moment, people think that it's a one-time thing. I don't believe so. For me, I found I got to be born again in every moment. Born again and born again. Because guess what? When a baby's brand new, when it just comes out, it's got new skin. It's got that new baby smell. You know that smell? And you know they have no past, nothing to forgive, nothing to worry about. That's why the Bible says that the children are the greatest in the kingdom. Because they can just create. They don't have to disappear or anything. They can create right where they're from, right where they are. That's where we want to be, so we can create a new future. No creation occurs without coming from nothing. Even God did it. So transformation, guys, is basically, if I could redo this slide, it would be transformation is equal to a disappeared past. That means nothing is there, plus creation. But what is creation really? Creation is nothing plus the Word. And the Word in existence is what we're going to touch on in the next couple of weeks, because if you want to have breakthroughs in your life like never before, then you've got to have that kind of transformation. It's got to come from the transformation. There's got to be transformation in your lives if you want breakthroughs. Because if you're having a breakthrough, it's because you haven't been able to break through in the past. You've plateaued, or there's something that you want to have different. Be different in that area of your life. And you can't have something be different in your life if the past is still there. And even using the word different is not what we want to use. We just want to create what we really want for our lives. So you got to accept the past, disappear it, and say, what do I want now? So what we're going to get into this conversation is, and we're not quite there yet, because I want to keep on talking about transformation really quickly, is that the word in existence, we're going to get into that next week and the week after, is two things. It's your word, spoken word, our sharing. Because what happens is, I know people, they'll just keep declaring in their house by themselves. Like they're just in the house by themselves, declaring all day long, and they're waiting for something to happen. And don't get me wrong, it's helpful, but it's just not. It's not going to have things shift, right? It's not going to have it shift like it can. Sharing. I'm going to tell you where I found that in the Bible. And then the next thing, word in existence, is also action. If you look at the image that I use, it's a girl standing there in the middle, and she's got all these letters around her. They're supposed to be words. You want to be so surrounded by your word in every moment that you can create what you want for your life. But we don't live like that. And then we wonder why we're not able to create what we want. The times I've created powerfully in my life is where I continually share, and I'm continually in action that is in alignment with the word that I'm sharing. We can look in the Bible and we can see that. And I'm getting ahead of myself. We can see that throughout the Bible, and we're going to talk about it next week. So we want breakthroughs, not change. And if you want breakthroughs, then don't change. We want to be transformed. So today I want to talk about something specific, okay? Now, we've been talking about how to distinguish the flesh in weeks past. And we're going to talk about it today because it's so important for us to realize where we get stopped. This is the biggest thing, like transformation. Flesh is against transformation because God is all about transformation. He's all about creating. Everything he does, he creates. It's brand spanking new. It's just creation. And then we realize that the flesh doesn't want us to do that. So the flesh is for the status quo. What do I mean by the flesh is for the status quo? What does it mean, the status quo? Right, what society considers to be acceptable, but really what that word status quo literally means is the way that it is. The current condition, that's what it means. The status quo is the current condition, and it's just like Carlos said, it represents the way that things are in the world, but it also means the way that it is, period. It doesn't want to change. I'm going to share something with you guys. There's a story in the book of Joshua, and we're looking at the children of Israel. Now, the children of Israel, they're in Israel. They were in Egypt. Okay, so you got the children of God, right, back in the day, and they were slaves in Egypt. And then Moses, most people know the story of Moses. He comes and says, "Let my people go," right? That whole thing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I didn't have the staff, but, you know, I work with what I got. I got a microphone. So anyway, Moses gets them out of Egypt, right? And first of all, most of them don't even believe. Some people even stay behind because that's what people do in the status quo. They fight their flesh. They get out. Now they're in the middle of the wilderness trying to get to the promised land. Now this is a land that was supposed to be flowing with milk and honey, that they were supposed to be given. And guess what happens, guys? Listen, this journey was supposed to take weeks. It was supposed to take a couple of weeks. In fact, they said it was supposed to take about a week, 6 days for them to get there, I believe. And instead of it taking a week, guess how long it took them? How long they were in the wilderness trying to get to this place? That was a week away. 40 years. 40 years in the wilderness. Yeah. 40 years in the wilderness, guys. And why did they spend 40 years in the wilderness? And I'm here to say that it was their flesh. I'm here to say that whenever you get stuck, we all get stuck. Like, we laugh at them like, oh, what, they couldn't follow the North Star or whatever they had to find their way there, right? We laugh at them and everything, you know. Yeah, whatever, right? But the reality is that we live our lives the exact same way. When we have our flesh run our lives, we get stuck in the status quo, because no matter how many times you try to change your direction, if you're in the flesh, you will never be able to create anything new. So here in this image, you see that it's a road, but it's a road going in a circle. It's a road to nowhere. We're all on a road to nowhere when we're in the flesh. I'm going to give you a great example of my own life. So one of the things, you know, I used to be a lawyer. I'm a lawyer. And, you know, I just knew that my life was going to be filled with me working hard, you know, working long hours, not being happy with my life, you know. And so I said, you know what, I'm not going to work long hours like, you know, like I've been doing for all this time. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and do something else. What am I going to do? I'm going to go ahead and change careers. I'm going to make a big move. I'm going to change careers. I'm going to go to something that I don't have to work so much in. And so I became a currency trader, right? And I became a currency trader. And guess what, guys? Big leap. I mean, from law to that's a big leap. But yet somehow, guess what I found myself? Fast forward 5 years, and what am I doing? Fast forward 10 years, and what am I doing? Working long hours, not living the life that I want to live as a trader. So that was my flesh. That was my cycle. It was always going to look like that. It was always going to look like that. Like, I could get up and do it. It's like some of us do it with relationships. We're like, oh, if I weren't with this girl, if I got another girl who was a better girl, then things would be different. And then you get into another relationship. This time she's not blonde, she's brunette. This time she's not, you know, from, you know, U.S. She's from, I don't know, wherever, somewhere else, Pakistan or whatever, right? She's from somewhere. I don't know where you got that, Carlos. I can only just Israel, somewhere, right? And then it's the same relationship. I did this. Oh, I did the same thing. I did the same thing. I've done the same thing in relationships. I've done the same thing in career. I've done the same thing everywhere to find out that even though I thought I was making these big moves, really what I was doing was I was just traveling around 40 years in the wilderness. I'm here to let you know that the flesh will have you traveling in a circle 40 years in the wilderness. You're going to say to yourself, you're going to get up tomorrow, you're going to change jobs. But I'm here to say if you're walking in the flesh and you're not creating, you're going to still be doing the same thing. And when you turn around, like this little guy here at the bottom, he just finally looked up and he said, whoa, wait a minute. I'm in the same place I was in 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 40 years ago. And so here's what I'm saying to you guys, and this is what the purpose of this entire conversation is today. The purpose of this conversation is for us to get that if we don't begin to create, if we don't disappear our past and then create something new, then we're going to be doing this. If we keep on living in the flesh, we're going to continue to live the same thing. We're going to try different things too. We're going to think that we're being radical. We're going to think we're going to pat ourselves on the back. I did that. Oh, I made this big move. Yeah, I made a little bit more money. I made this big move. Now I'm a currency trader. I'm so cool, right? And I'm still doing the same thing. Just not doing it for somebody else. I'm doing it for me, right? So here's what I want you to look at. So that was it. Joshua 5:6. If you get a chance, read that whole entire thing. It's really great. We're going to continue on and tell you how you can get off that and how to create something brand new next week right out of the book of Joshua again, and really considering this conversation that we have on the flesh. See, the Israelites, they were in the flesh. If you read this chapter, you'll find out that they were complaining, they were bickering, they were whining, they were constantly not creating what they want to create. They weren't creating anything that they wanted to create. And they were constantly in the flesh. They didn't create anything. So where are you? Because this is where we are right now. This is the key distinction I want you to get for tonight. When our flesh dominates our lives, we live into the same predictable future, and no matter what we do, life looks the same with slight variations. Like me, I changed careers, same hamster wheel I was on. And it had nothing to do with the career as much as it had to do with me. See, because now I'm not working more for the actual job, but then I go find something else I've got to go do, and I'm working still 16 hours a day to do that, because inside, like, that was me. See, my flesh constantly tells me that I've got to work hard or else I'm not being productive, or unless my life's not worth anything. That's what my flesh does. My flesh tells me that, to be fearful that I won't have enough, because that's how I grew up, right? So I'm constantly working on something else. So even though I wanted to create what I wanted to create, I'm not creating anything. I'm just reacting every moment. Living in a past. I don't see it. And so that's why it's so important for me to be able to distinguish the past, to distinguish my flesh, so I can begin to create a new future. So when our flesh dominates, we live into the same predictable future. And no matter what we do, life looks the same with slight variations. So here's the reality. If I don't do anything different, guys, what's going to happen? 20 years from now, I'm going to be basically doing the same thing. It may be a different house. It may even be a different career. But it's going to be the same situation. That's what it's going to look like. Relationships, since my 20s, I've been doing the same thing. Relationships that I go into and I go in hardcore and then they don't work because there's trust. I don't trust them, or whatever comes up. And it's not going to be the person that changes that makes that any different. I'm going to wake up, I'm going to be 60, 70, 80 years old doing the same thing unless something shifts. in the way that I deal with that relationship, if I deal with myself in relationships. My flesh is going to completely own me and have me walk into a life that I don't want to live. So here's where I want to open it up. Look at your life. What areas of life do you want transformation in? Look at an area of your life that you want transformation in. Can you see that you've been going in circles and getting nowhere in that area? So really the one question I want to ask is, what areas of your life that are important to you have you been going in circles in? And I want you to look at yourself and see, hey, where would I really be down the line if I don't shift that area, if I don't create something new? Mr. Elio. Oh, we got plenty of space.
Hello, everybody. This is Elio. What's up, Elio? So, the area of life that I want transformation in, my, well-being as health and my strength as an athlete. So lately, since I got to the U.S., I've been getting perhaps a pound a day. Extra, right? Which is totally different for where I used to be. And so what I do is that, okay, so now I'm going to work out in the mornings, and then I work out in the morning for 2 or 3 days. So now I can't wake up early in the morning. So then I will go and say, oh, I'll join this gym, and then I wake up in the gym and take a shower and go to work. So I'll go 2 or 3 days, and then I'll go no more. And then I'll say, oh, I'll join, I don't know, a team that does, I don't know, whatever. And I'll do the team, and then it won't work for a couple of days, right? And then I'll say, oh, my job is paying me for the gym. I may as well just go there and go to the gym. And then I'll say, I'll go, and then I won't go. And if I say the truth about myself, I will keep getting a pound extra every day, pretty much. And, I'll say, let's say five a month, all right? That's more accurate. No, it does not. It will be 30. All right. So, I've been going in circles because I've been trying the same thing over and 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 over again.
That's great. So, like, what does life look like if you don't shift that area? Like, what is it going to look like there 5 years from now?
I'll be Mega Elio. There you go. All right. So, yeah, I do see that I'm going in circles. So now what do I do?
Good. That's a good question. Thank you. Thank you. So the real question I have is, do you want that to go that way? No. No. Of course you don't. And like, guys, let's get that. If what I'm really trying to get at right now is like a reality check for us all, right? Like, if life continues to go the way that it's gone, then it's going to continue to go the way that it's gone, and I'm going to get to where this thing is going. There's only one direction that it's going in, right? And somehow, like, our flesh will have us say, "Oh, don't worry about that. We'll deal with it tomorrow. Oh, we'll figure it out," right?
I'll say this. Watch. Oh, I know how to lose weight. I know how to be in shape. So if I gain, I don't know, 5 or 6 pounds today, then it doesn't matter because, I'll lose some more weight after. It doesn't, I know how to do that.
That's it. So that's it. So we say all these things, and then in the now, what are we doing? We're doing the same things we've always done. I'm hearing like Adam over here like huffing and puffing. When he does that, it's something good. There's a good share coming our way. All right.
Oh, have I shared? Oh, jeez. Yeah. The slide right before this just said it all, because I feel like, if you want to go real quick, see that where it says, oh man, like, life looks the same with slight variations. That's literally what's been happening the last 2 years for me. It's like I keep having all these great things. Like I happen. Like the record with B.O.B. and like I just got a set with Flo Rida yesterday.
Wow.
You know, and that song we had been working on for 6 months, and we just came to fruition. I kept telling people it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. We did the record yesterday. Shot the music video, everything. Show you the videos later, behind the scenes. And those things keep happening. It's great, but my career keeps looking the exact same way. Like I'm still working for the label. I'm still like the production guy. I'm not the talent. I'm not the guy in front of the camera. I'm not the one that's getting creative property.
This is great.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, but great, I make a big move. I have a Flo Rida credit. Great, I make a big move. I've got B.O.B. Grammy Award-winning credit, right? But still, it's not looking anyway. It's just slight variation.
Yeah.
So it's been hard for me to like express to people, like, oh, this is what I'm up to, and it's like, but that nails it right there. It's like, yes, I'm doing the career that I want, sure, but it's not like it's great. I'm having movement, you know,
Right.
but it's still not looking like what I wanted to look like when I was 20, 21, 22, 23. I'm 24 years old now, so so it just keeps looking like that right there. Like it's just a slight variation, and it's like I never even. I mean, I did, but it's like looking at that's what it is right there. That circle.
That's it. And so this is great because what we really want to get is if we keep on living in the flesh. Because even like he's creating, right? He's creating new music and everything, but all that is inside of what it's not inside of spirit. I mean, his music is, right? But like the way he's doing life in his career, it's not inside spirit. It's not creating anything new, right? And so like all of us have some area of our lives that looks somewhat like that. So guess what? Life can continue on and we'll be fine. We would be. Like we would continue to live on. Like I'm going to be okay. I mean, I'm not sleeping an awful lot at night, but I'm going to, I'll be okay. I mean, I got a pretty good lifestyle and, whatever. But then am I living the life that I would create, that God wants me to live? The life that I love, a life that I love? No, not at all. And this is what life will continue to look like. So what does life look like, 10 years from now, like for you right now? If you look at it, I mean, right now, we continue on the way that it's been going.
I mean, 10 years from now,
Yes.
I'll probably, I'll still look the same way I look because I never age. And then, I'll still be just a production guy. I'll always
You
be
have plenty of credits.
I'll have plenty of credits.
accomplishments.
Like people will know to call on me all the time, like they do. But it's like that's just what it's gonna look like. I mean, I could probably have a great life in that, but it's still not what I want. Like
Exactly.
ultimately, it's not what I want. I can do that and I can do what I want.
Exactly.
I just haven't been doing them both.
There you
know.
go. So, guys, what I'm getting at is not for everybody to go out there and, get really depressed right now. Right?
Yeah, or quit.
Or quit, right?
Or quit, right? Like I said, it's finding that balance. Like I do this. This is what I do. I love this too.
Right.
But it's like I can do this and make a living and also do what I want.
Yes.
And I'm just not doing that.
Good. And so, like, guys, when we get in the world of that we are the children of Israel with a promised land, like Adam's promised land is to be the talent and to produce amazing things for the world. And he's already producing some of that as in the production, but as the talent. You get that? And that's not happening. So his 40 years in the wilderness looks like that. My 40 years in the wilderness looks like, me not really making a difference for people that I really want to make, and me not sleeping enough at night and not having a family the way that I want to have a family. That's what it looks like. And life is going to pretty much continue to look like that. Ooh, hold on one second. Hold. Hey, Isabel.
Hello.
This is
I
Mario.
wanted to share
This is Mario. You're actually on live. Yes.
Okay. Well, I wanted to share. Can I share?
Yeah, please share.
Okay. Well, it's
Introduce
really,
yourself really quickly, Isabel.
Sorry. This is Blanco. I am from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Hey guys.
Hello.
And I am reporting from Dallas, Texas. I just got into the parking lot of my
You're
seminar.
awesome. Great.
That I have right now. So I want to, and it's probably repetitive of what Elio is sharing. I really think that the area that I am just consistently stuck in is the one of my weight. It is just, oh my God, like it's like whether I work out, whether I start a plan, like somehow my flesh just always keeps, I just keep giving in to my flesh. And I really, I'm coming to these seminars and I'm listening to conversations. I'm like, oh, yes, I get it when we're talking about it. I'm like, okay, this is my flesh. And then just, somehow I just go on autopilot, and by the time I remember, I'm like already eating the cookies. And I am just right now, this morning I did what I worked out. I had my protein shake. I'm like, okay, today let's do this. Start from you every day. And then on my way in my drive, I just gave into some Skittles and
that's what it looks like, right?
Yeah.
Good.
And yes, like you said, I'm 32, and this is something that I've been battling since I was 5, and it just, I just keep doing the same thing over and over, and even though I have lost weight, but this is not what I want. This is not what I want. I want to be at my goal weight. I want to do it, and I just keep giving into this that is not, it is not who I want to be. I don't want to be this person anymore. I want to be stronger, and I am really, trying to think outside my circumstances, and I just keep, it just, the same thing keeps happening.
Good. That's really, it's not good that it keeps happening, but it's good that you got that it keeps happening.
No, it's not.
No, that's really great. I'm really so I want to acknowledge you for taking it on, like really taking on, hey, this is what I want to create for my life, And so in the next couple conversations, we've been talking about this because the subject matter is so deep that I wanted to cover this here. But in the next 2 conversations, we're going to talk about when you're in the world of, okay, I want to create something new. I'm trying to transform this area of my life. What do I need to do in real terms to have that real thing, have that thing happen for me? How am I, what do I have to do to have that breakthrough in that area of my life that's important to me? Right?
Yes.
Because that's the question, isn't it? And so
that's what it is.
And I want to acknowledge you again, because at least you know that it's the flesh. You're not stuck thinking that it's you who you are, right? So I'm gonna, before I get into the homework, I really do want to. I think I put it. Nope. I actually created a slide for this, and I think I just messed it up. Must have put it in the wrong one. But there's a slide that there's what we're going to talk about next week, which is going to be phenomenal. And it's on, what we're gonna do to have that be in existence. So you got to complete with the past, what happened from 5 to however old you are right now, really complete with that's the way that it went. And do you get that? That's just the way things went, right? We don't need an excuse. We don't need a reason for it. We don't need anything. And then, good. And so then there's what do you want to do now? What happens from here going forward, right?
Yes.
And then there's so what we're going to talk about in our next conversation, because this is important, because like Isabel, what was important that I really wanted you to get, and what I wanted all of us to get, what I needed to get even in this conversation was that if I don't do anything differently here, this is what life looks like for me. It looks like me overworking myself to the bone, not having a relationship that works, you know, constantly doing, you know, something else to not think about what I really want and not creating the life that I want for myself. Being alone at 60 years old, 70 years old, 80 years old, you know, not what I want for my life. And I can tell that you don't want this for your life anymore. And then we really get that that's how life's going to look unless we do something about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. You know, I was looking through a notification that I got this morning on my Facebook about the memories. You know, there's this memory thing. And I looked at it, and a year ago it's when I started going to the gym. And then I was like, wow, okay, so I did that a year ago, but so what's going on? I've seen people lose, you know, 200 pounds in a year. So it's like, why am I still at like 30 pounds, which is, I mean, still better than nothing, but that's not what I want, and why am I still doing this? So I don't want a year from now to be at the same level that I am in and that I have continued to be in for the past years.
That's so great.
Yes, I'm excited. Yes, I'm excited.
Yes. Yes, I'm excited too. I'm excited for you. You're freaking incredible. You're an awesome human being. You are. And
I need to work for that. I need to work for that bikini bar so I can go to Miami.
come on now. Come visit us in Miami. We're ready. So good. We're gonna. So listen. So this. So like what we have is Carlos in the background. No, just kidding. singing Pitbull or something. But really, right? But what there really is that we don't want our lives to look like this anymore. And it's going to look like this. Like it's going to be 40 years and you know what? Here's what I want you to get is like, and what I got out of reading this scripture is that, you know, the Bible says, we were just reading out of Joshua 5:8, and it says that, you know, God, he really had to, like when the old people who were the ones bickering and whining and, you know, living in the flesh like that, when they died, it was the children that he took into the promised land, because they wouldn't complete with the past. And it's like for us to really get that, unless we're not going to be able to live our promised land. We're not going to be able to live our promised experience. We're not going to be able to create the lives that we want for ourselves if we don't shift something, if we continue to let the flesh run our lives. I'm not committed to that. I don't know about you.
Yes.
I'm so committed. I'm so committed. Like I got it right now, that this is not the life I want to live, and I want to live a different life. So we gotta. So what I'm gonna do is, for me personally, is I'm disappearing my past because I want to break through. And one of the things that I know to do is, and I've had breakthroughs in the past, is to really just accept what has been as it was, and then really create something new. And what I'm here to create is, and how we're gonna create is, we're gonna have the Word be in existence. Now, in the next week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you how we're going to do that. Okay?
Yes.
So really, it's about having the Word be in existence in our sharing and our action now. And if I could just give you if I could give you a spoiler, it's about having our Word in existence now, constantly. Do you get what I mean by that?
Yes, sir. Yes.
What do I mean by that?
That we have to be our Word constantly, all the time, and every time to start from you, and that we are walking in our Word.
Well, yeah, and it's not necessary, and that's great. That's really great, because if it were that easy, we would just do it, right?
Yeah. well, but the intention is always to do that. I mean, life happens, and we just have to recreate and get back on the
Yeah, and so like what there is that God gave us still in that book of Joshua later on, he really gave us a recipe for how to be successful in having breakthroughs in our lives. And I wish I had more time to talk about it today, but we don't have the time to really get into it today. But I want you to know that are you committed to having this breakthrough in your life?
Yes, I want it. Yes, I'm going to do
I
it.
love it. I love it. I hear the conviction, man. It's going to really happen. And so.
This is not stronger than I am. I'm stronger than this.
Right.
It's going to happen.
So I can help.
Carlos can help. Carlos does everything.
All right, Carlos.
He's a culinary genius, a multilinguist. He does everything.
No.
He does brain surgery on the side. If anybody needs a brain surgeon.
Mr. Telemundo, right? Mr. Telemundo.
Mr. Telemundo, yeah. And he fights crime at 2:00 in the morning, just in case you need anybody.
Oh, wow.
You'd be surprised. He does everything. Anyway, no, but really, like what we are out to create and what we're out to do is to, listen, what was important is that we really realize that our flesh is running our lives and it's not giving us what we want. And if we continue to live this life, then 10 years from now, we're going to be in the same spot.
Yes.
So what there is for us to realize, so the first thing I'm going to say before I get into the details of it next week is, will you take on, in that moment where you see yourself buying that Skittles, buying the, whatever it is, the chocolate bar or whatever it looks like, where I see myself picking up another project that I shouldn't be picking up, right? Or whatever it looks like, that will actually, say, oh, wait a minute, that's the flesh. And be willing to stop it. Sometimes I give my word to, I want to give a quick example, if that's all right with you, Isabel.
Okay, yes, sir, please.
Sometimes I'm in the shower and I give my word that I'm going to be somewhere at 6:00 p.m., right? And I'm in the shower and the shower is so good because I haven't slept. And I'm just in that shower. I'm like, man, I just had 10 extra minutes in the shower, man. That would just make my life right now, And then I think to myself, are those 10 minutes worth my word?
Wow.
Is that shower worth my word?
Yeah. Wow.
Seriously. Because, one of my mentors, she said to me one time, she said, Mario, she's an older lady, she's tough, right? Tough as nails. And she said to me, she said, Mario, she said, listen, she said the same word that it takes you to be on time is the same word that it took to put a man on the moon. That's what she said. And I got it. And I stopped being late.
Wow. Get it.
I got it. And so I am so committed that we begin to be our word there. And I'm going to give you the tools next week to how we can have breakthroughs by really standing in that and give you the structures that we need to be our word starting next week. All right?
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing with us because you're a superstar. You're a rock star. Go ahead on your business. Love you very much.
Love you guys. Good night.
Bye. All right, guys. So, this is our conversation, and we've been having our conversation about this, and it's a powerful conversation, and it's been about transformation. Transformation is life. Creation is life. This is what we're committed to doing, and we don't want the status quo anymore. And if everybody in here really looks at areas of their lives that they want to shift, I want you to look at the homework. And next week we're going to have a conversation about the homework. And what it is number one, look at areas of your life that you want to transform, an area of your life that you're just not happy with, an area of your life that you would like to look a different way. Number two, how will life be 5 years from now? Let's look 5 years from now in that area if things continue on in this way. How will life look? And number three, I want you to write down this future, and I want you to come ready to share that next week. Because, guys, there's a payoff and there's a cost. When we allow when I allow my flesh to run my life, yeah, it's easier. I don't have to be responsible for stuff when I say, oh, I didn't realize that was the flesh. right? And I get to go on, but then what's the cost for me? The cost is that I'm not living a life that I love. The cost is I don't have my family. The cost is that I don't have a lifestyle that I wanted. The cost is that I lose power. The cost is I don't get to be my word. So, like, let's look at it. The cost is 5, 10 years from now, I'm going to live an entire life as long as I have on this planet without fulfilling on the things that I want to fulfill on. That's the cost for me. For me, I see it clearly. So anyway, let's take on transformation, guys. Transformation really is breakthrough. It's like whatever we had now, we can have something different. But for us to have that thing be different, we've got to really stand in. We've got to stand in that we're going to be something else and have it a different way. Next week, we're going to talk about the exact tools that we use to have breakthroughs in our lives back to back to back, and to be more consistent in the areas of our lives that we want to be consistent in, and to have breakthroughs in those areas through plateaus that we've had or breakdowns that we've had in the past. And that's what we're going to be touching on next week. Be ready to do the homework. I love you guys very, very much. Please be at our next conversation. Without you guys being present in the conversation doesn't happen. If Isabel doesn't share, if Adam doesn't share, if you don't share, if Elio doesn't share, if I don't share, we don't have a conversation. It's just me talking by myself. So guys, keep on coming back and keep on being amazing human beings. Let's continue this path of being extraordinary. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
That homework made my head hurt. I was like 5 years down the line, I was like,
I heard you.
I was like, this thing just got real, like real.
Yeah, it's real. Really great.